And welcome back to the hottest marriage show
in the
neighborhood. It is I, John D.
Too much.
And Kanika, a.k.a.
Like, I want to be a part.
Welcome back to Doing Too Much Podcast. I am John D. and this is my better half, Kanika.
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like about being a wife? And the reason why I'm asking is because I thought about the things that I like being as a husband. I think where I am now, like I appreciate it so much because we started at the age we did, because we're here now. And I know it was a bunch of turmoil in between, but being a husband, I've always appreciated it. It wasn't a time where I didn't want to be a husband. I just didn't know that I could feel like the way that I do today.
Mm.
But being a husband, I feel like, you know how when you understand something, you just don't worry about things.
Mm-hmm.
That being married and being your husband,
Mm-hmm.
like truly understanding that, a lot of the things that I used to think about, I don't think about anymore. Like, for example, like single stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like going to, like I used to go to like to bars to watch games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's single stuff to me.
Mm.
Like, to me, I'm like, I got to get there. But now I feel like I don't want to be there.
Well, I don't think that it should be like there's the camaraderie, there's the friend.
No, I get it. I'm just saying as often as I did it.
Oh,
It was a weekly thing.
Yeah.
It could be
I'm
a couple
with you on
times
that.
out the week. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when I say single stuff, I'm saying like those things were a part of my mind. Now, well, they haven't been on my mind regularly. When we moved to Abu Dhabi, the time was so different.
Mm-hmm.
So
it kind of fell off anyway. Yeah.
But even coming back, like I can see in different chats, like we're going to get up for the game or we're going to do this. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because this is what I think about when I go out. I'm going to spend money.
Number one.
And most likely, well, before I would have definitely more than a couple of drinks, which would endanger me returning home safely.
Mm.
And I guess just being away from the family. Like, I know that the family's safe, but I'm spending money that's supposed to be, to me, like I was spending that money because I thought that I needed a personal life.
You do.
Yeah, but it's different.
Okay.
Like my personal life shouldn't be because I felt like I was gonna burn out my home life.
Absolutely.
So I was looking at it different. I was thinking this is how you balance. So, but being a husband now and removing all of that, it's so much more bandwidth for things that are beneficial for the family.
I mean, absolutely.
But see, that's what I'm saying. As a husband that can accept that role, you appreciate things you don't do when you are single anymore.
Mm.
At least I do.
Okay.
I feel like you don't have to worry about, well, I don't know if you really worried about it before, but me spending money on unnecessary things when I go out. And he was like, oh, what is he bringing home to dine? Like, did he do this?
No, a couple of reasons. We kept our personal finances separate.
For sure.
So having the house account that covered any and everything that had to do with the house, and then having your own money, I thought that was a really, really great way of managing that. So whatever you got, I didn't know what was going on with your finances. It just wasn't impacting our home.
Yeah.
So
do you think that is something that all married people should try out in the beginning?
I mean, I think, yeah, but I think that another thing about it is where it can get messy is when people's incomes are so very different. Like when we started, our incomes were very similar. So it was like, yeah, split it 50-50. And then whatever is left is yours and whatever's left for me is mine. I thought that was great because I did not monitor what you spent. You were responsible for your own credit. You were responsible for your own stuff. And I know other people would be like, well, you know, what if something happened? We had to be responsible enough to have some money sitting somewhere where we would be able to, like, there has to be a part where you just have to be a grown up.
Yeah.
And one of the things we used to do is with our house account, we would overestimate expenses so that there was always something sitting somewhere. Well, for the most part, there were. Not all the time, because I had an issue with using the debit card. John hated me. But I liked it because I didn't feel like I had to hide anything. I didn't feel like I had to justify why I bought certain things. But I didn't buy a lot. I didn't buy high price things, but I definitely spent money. So I appreciated doing that way. So when you went out, I wasn't counting your coins because it wasn't going. My mom said, if there's one thing, you make sure you always have a roof over your head. Our roof was always taken care of. So I wasn't going to fight you about that.
Yeah, now I think about it, yeah, I guess having separate funds for our own personal life did reduce a lot of the things. Mm-hmm. And when things did come up, it wasn't like I spent all my money. It was like somebody had it. Mm-hmm. You know, so yeah, I guess that's cool. But what do you like about being a wife at this point juncture in your life?
Okay, so I like feeling like I don't have to think. And I think of this in a funny way and not in a funny way, but there are a lot of things that I don't have to worry about. So the other day we were walking and it was dark. I think it was getting dark. And we're walking down the street and John's holding the dogs or whatever. And somebody's talking in the background. I don't even turn around. I ain't even looking. John was like, how do you, like, it's people, you don't pay attention to any of your surroundings. You didn't even turn around and there were people talking. I said, I ain't had to. You was here. Like, if I were by myself, of course I would be paying attention. I heard the people talking, but I didn't have to turn around and look and see where they were and stuff. I don't worry about that. Number one, we got loudmouth dogs. Number two, you're right there. When we go places, I just be floating around. I laugh because recently I was like, I'll be walking around with one brain cell because that's all I need. I need to be able to walk around, be happy, and be cute. That's my job when we go places. You drive us there. We, we do whatever we're going to do. And I know that, like, there are certain things that I have covered because I plan to do X, Y, and Z. But in general, I don't worry about anything that's going on around me because you're there. And I couldn't say that some years ago. But now I notice it and I laugh at myself. Like, when I get in the car, I expect my door to be open for me. When I'm getting, and even when you're not, like, Dallas will do it. And he sees you do it, so he does it. And so I believe that even when I'm older and I'm with Dallas, I ain't gonna have to worry about nothing because he understands what it's supposed to look like. But as a wife, I think that that's what I enjoy the most. I love being able to be somewhere and fully feel like I don't have to worry about anything around me. That's kind of cool because I've never felt that way. And even now, it's funny when I realize that I'm doing it sometimes when when we were walking and you were like, you weren't even paying no attention. Oh, I don't have to. I don't have to do those types of things. And it made me think, one day I was thinking about it and there was this woman, I remember we had a conversation before. And I said, if there's a woman in the wherever you are and she's in danger, are you going to help her? Are you going to feel, necessary to protect her? Blah, 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 blah. So this woman posted and she said, if my husband is somewhere and a woman is in danger, I need her to understand that he's not there to protect her because he's here to protect me. And if I'm not there, he's not supposed to be putting himself at risk for someone else and then possibly not being here for me. So if you see my husband, just know he's not coming to your rescue. And it's weird because I think when we had the conversation, in my head, I've always experienced, like, when I was younger, whatever guys I was with, they looked out for me. So if another guy was acting crazy and I was with a group of guys, it didn't matter. I remember one time, you remember in Michigan State when 8 Mile came out?
Yeah, I was gone.
Remember? Oh, you were. I know. John was gone. However, I was Miss Black and Gold, and Miss Black and Gold was, I don't know, a representative of it was
Alpha for Alpha.
yeah. And so when I went to the thing, I was supposed to find them to get in, and I couldn't find them anywhere. And I was just kind of standing there, and Coop walked up. Now, Coop knew me, but he didn't know me. But John is a part of Omega Sci-Fi, and Coop was like, "You coming in with us?" And he took me in there, and it was like I was around. It wasn't like they were all like standing around me like I was the queen of the cues or anything, but I was watched over. And so that was kind of the mindset I had. I remember one time I was riding down the expressway. I don't know why these people, it was some guys in a car, and they kept riding really close to me, getting in front of me and braking and like really antagonizing me, like terrorizing me on the highway. And I was with the Alphas, and I remember there were two cars of them, and they pushed him up, and then they went in front of me and then the side of me so that the guy couldn't bother me anymore. So my experience with young men as a young woman, you didn't have to be doing anything with me. The men around me took care of me. And so in my head, I always looked at it that way, where the men around me would take care of me. And taking it a step further, thinking about my cousins, my brother, when they were older, I remember I had a problem at a football game with a boyfriend he was really out of line, and out of nowhere, my cousins and my brother came out of nowhere. And it's like, I've always been protected by a group of men, and you didn't necessarily have to be related to me. You didn't necessarily have to know me, but I was always taken care of. So in my head, even as adults, when I asked you that, I think in the conversation, my expectation was that you would be like, yeah, like I'm not going to just let some woman get hurt or whatever. But when I heard that woman say that, I'm thinking to myself, she's right, because we have children and there's me. And if you're my husband, am I really supposed to be like, John, you can't let women get treated however, but you're here to protect me. So then what happens to me if you're gone? I don't have a person. We don't live in a life where I'm hanging around with Qs or I'm hanging around with cousins all day long or whoever, and somebody can look out for me anymore. So I kind of took that in a different turn. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But yeah, I feel the greatest thing about being a wife is feeling like I have someone who's always looking out for me, who's always watching, making sure, like even sometimes I know I can drive and go do something. John will get in a car, even if he's not driving, so that he's there. And to me, aside from having like a built-in friend in the house with me, I think that is one of the things I feel like I love about being a wife. You do a good job.
I'm glad. I want to only do better though.
Okay.
So I want to say thank you. But I'll say this though. It used to be difficult to be like a good husband. And when I say good, I'm talking about the things that you like. I think I purposely did try to do things that you like. But now it's so much easier because when you do those things in practice, you just get a different person. Like before I was doing it because it was like out of priority.
Yeah.
Now I do it because you're just a different person when you feel safe or happy.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like in order to be in a successful relationship with anyone, there are things that you just have to expect to do so that person can feel a certain type of way majority of the time. If you don't make her feel that way or him that way, why are they with you?
Yeah.
So to me, that's why I don't like when we get into it, because I don't want to get into it. I'm like really trying to figure out why we even got to that point.
Me too.
And well, most of the time we get to that point because I don't understand something and I say something that you feel like I should understand. And then your tone changes and I get sensitive where my language just doesn't sound, you can't understand it, and you
Yeah.
seem to get more upset. But watching it now, like I enjoy you just in ways where I'm like, I specifically worked to create this relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't plan on stopping.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like, what is it going to look like? So being a husband now, my expectations is just totally different, because I feel like at some point you're going to become a person you didn't know you could become.
Mm.
And you're going to be able to create a better product in whatever you do, because you're going to be happier. You're going to be a different type of soul. Like if you can feel like you're protected with me now, just imagine if you're happy and protected. The things you do is just a lot more fun.
Right.
So that's the thing, like being married, if you want it to be successful, you have to have those conversations you don't want to have. And you got to expect you guys to get into it. But the way that you handle it is what's going to determine how successful the next friction moment happens.
Yeah.
Because I think like now, well, like you cursed at me the other day, and I said it too. I was like, you cursed at me. Look, so check this out. In my head, I was like, you did the right thing. Because I was like, she lost her control. She cursed. You let her know it. And when you guys can come back to it, you let her know you won. Because I didn't lose my control where you just like, fuck! Excuse my language. And
That's
I was
one
like,
of my favorite words when I'm mad.
and I was like, you cursed.
He did. And I closed the door and I cussed even more. I said, oh, dumb. Don't nobody care if you don't like my word. I'm mad. Yeah. But sometimes I have to get that frustration out. And that's my favorite one to use. But I don't usually try to like yell it out for other people to hear.
Yeah, because the kids weren't here, so it was easier for you to just
let loose.
Nobody's gonna believe him.
Not this sweet person. I remember I asked the kids who was the sweetest. I'm the sweetest woman you know. Dallas was like, no, not you. It was like, dang. They just smiled at me lovingly.
It's crazy.
Like, poor delusional woman.
No, like the opinions of others.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna. I know we were talking about us in a relationship, but I wanted to talk about David Thornton. Yesterday was his birthday, and he was like my best friend in Abu Dhabi.
The mayor
of Abu Dhabi, for real. And I was just listening to how people talked about him. Like he literally brought so many different people together, and just to listen to that. Like he had this laugh that made you just like think that everything was fun. Like it was cool. And
yeah,
I was trying to think like when people wanted to be around me, it wasn't for the same reasons. Mm-hmm. They thought I was a good time, but he was a pleasant, like his smile, his energy. And I was like, how can I become more like that? Because I was a terror. Like my happiness was like somebody's expense.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he really, like, I don't remember. He got mad at me like one time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It was like for like 30 seconds. But he did. And I was like, what happened? And then I think I know what happened, but it was over. And I was like, okay, I guess I can't talk to him that way. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what I said specifically, but to me, I felt like, man, I clean your crib up every day. Mm-hmm. If I'm telling you need to clean your crib, you can't talk to me like that. But I was just like, he's a grown man. He want his crib junky. But I used to clean it up anyway because I'm like, I can't
sit here.
Yeah. So, but it was just like I said, it was only one time. But he had an energy that people wanted to be around, and they knew it was gonna be fun.
Absolutely.
He had a big smile
and a bigger laugh.
Yeah, and shout out to him, because I would really like what he had when he brought people together. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just black people, it was Emiratis, other Muslims, like people from other countries. Like he just knew, like everywhere he went, somebody knew him. And it was always a smile.
Yeah.
You know, so
a great dude.
Yeah, he was definitely a great guy. Happy belated birthday, and I hope that you know that you have not been forgotten. And it was a pleasure getting to know you. I just wish I could have been this person I am today to help him before he got to the point where he had to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wasn't there. And I think that's my biggest hurt, because I wasn't mature enough to be a better example to him or say the right words to get him to change for his health. And shout out to David Thornton.
Shout out to David.
Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
Shout out to Gucci.
Did you say the coochie?
I said Gucci.
Oh.
That's what, when they asked Lil Wayne, when they were telling him who were the top, he was like, Eminem not in there. But who'd you say? Gucci Mane? Shout out to Gucci.
He said that?
Yeah. So, no, I don't. Just shout out to Gucci.
Shout out to all people that's interested in having a growing relationship. Now, a growing relationship is not always going to be happy. It can't be happy because y'all haven't talked about enough to know what each other don't like. Like, in order to truly find happiness, you want to make sure that other person doesn't become happy because you did something. And I realized the sacrifice I had to make to give my wife what she deserved was more so me realizing my ego wasn't as important. You know, I remember just the way that I thought as a man and to the person I've become today, like I was selfish. And even though I wanted her to have everything, it was the way that I wanted her to have it. It wasn't the way that she wanted to have it. And now I feel like when she tells me she wants something, I don't put no spin on it. I try to give it to her the way she asked.
She did ask for that specifically.
It was like, she'll like this better.
Yeah, that was some crazy mess.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I'm growing. But shout out to all of you guys who are looking for the relationship where you can grow with the person and enjoy their company, like just because you know they're there, not because you're going to see them, because you know that they're there. And I feel like that with my wife. Even when I go to work or go anywhere, I know she's there. So any of you guys that's working on that or got it, you guys deserve all of it. Those of you that want it, you deserve it. But understand it takes a level of effort that most of you guys have not seen, because if you did, you probably wouldn't be listening to this. But yeah, shout out to you guys.
Oh, well, let me do one shout out because I wasn't thinking. We always hear that Black women are the most unprotected people, especially in the United States. But I'm going to say thank you to everyone who fights against that fact every day and protects us. So, and that's not just men, other women as well, looking out for one another. So thank you to everybody who keeps us safe and feeling safe and secure.
Y'all make today better than yesterday? Don't worry about anything you cannot control. Attack the day with relentless tenacity and bend all opportunities to your will. Be great on purpose. Boom.